Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about being a second time mom, and that's because I am currently pregnant. We are doing a rewind video today. It's going to be about my first trimester. Boy, was it ever different from my first pregnancy with my daughter. I am enjoying the time with her, and it's been definitely different as I didn't have a toddler last time around, and now she's in the picture at the age that she is, running around, and it's completely new. I found out I was pregnant in September. I did a couple of P tests as I did last time, and then I booked a doctor's appointment, and in about 5 weeks time, so I believe that was the week after I found out I was pregnant via pee stick, I began to have some spotting, and it was blood spotting. Then it turned to light pink the next day, and then it would come back the following day, so on day 3, and it would be spotting, essentially the beginnings of a period, which of course alarmed me, and I called my doctor to come see her earlier than what I had already scheduled, because usually they get you in by 8 to 10 weeks time, so that to confirm that the pregnancy is still viable, and then they book your first ultrasound around that time as well. This time I went in to see her. I was 5 weeks in a couple days, and she did a pee test on the spot, like a medical test that they do on the spot in the doctor's office. They took out blood as well. They took actually a bunch of tubes, which normally that's my first doctor's appointment, that they take out 4 to 5 tubes, sometimes 7, I forget. This time they took the same amount, and then she had me come in the following day, which I told her I couldn't because I think I was leaving out of town that day. So I would come back on the Monday to take another vial of blood, and that it was essentially to confirm I was still pregnant after that time, because spotting does equal most of the time that you're having a miscarriage, but it also can equal around the time that I started spotting implantation of the egg and sperm, so the fetus into the uterus. And that's what had happened to me, is the embryo was nestling its way in the uterus, and that was causing the spotting of the blood. And I've never had that before. I did not have that with my first pregnancy. No spotting, no bleeding, no cramping even. I don't even remember. See, this is why I do these videos, so that I can compare it to my first time pregnancy versus now my second time pregnancy. And this video is going to be a compilation of my first trimester, because I'm currently filming this. I'm in my second trimester. When that's nearing its end, I will be doing a second trimester video. And the results of the spotting is things were okay. I got called when I came to see my doctor on the following Monday to confirm that the pregnancy was still viable. It was. The baby was doing okay. We actually booked an ultrasound as well before I left town, and the ultrasound confirmed it's like a little blob that confirmed the baby was there. They checked the heart rate. Now, here's where these wives' tales do not concur with everybody, because we are all different. Every single female on this earth is completely different. We actually make up the majority of the population on this world. I cannot conclude that, but by the rate that we are producing females, especially last year in my mommy group, there's a bunch of females, there's a bunch of little girls. I think the statistics are right. Regardless, I was pregnant with a little blob, and the heart rate was 170. And I might have to go back to my texts, because I messaged my cousins about the heart rate, and they all thought right away it's another girl because of the heartbeat. What wives' tales say is anything above 160 is normally a girl, and anything below that is typically a boy. So my first ultrasound, you could see the lines for the heartbeat, and they were able to measure that, and it was 170. Then I got my regular 10 weeks appointment, ultrasound. I don't know if they did blood work again, which I think they did because they were testing my iron. I'm prone to be anemic, just all my life I've been, and they must have done that test. That was at around the time too that I booked a midwife as well, because I wanted to see how a midwife was going to be this time around. Last time I was with an OBGYN. This time I wanted to go with a midwife because of my research I have discovered in terms of their post-care, and that's what I'm most interested in, as I have no support here and want to be able to obtain that support. And who better than a midwife, since they're available and it's all covered through our healthcare. And I decided that after my first meeting with them, with my midwife, that I would stay with the midwife. I really liked her vibe. I like her vibe. I'm still with her. I enjoyed her answers to my questions. I enjoyed the way she explained things, how midwives work. I thoroughly enjoyed how she answered my cousin's questions, because she actually came with me to my first midwife appointment, so that was really awesome. She doesn't live here, she's from out of the country, and she was able to meet my midwife for the first time. And of course, her being from out of the country, where she's from, they have a different look on how midwives are and how they act. Versus here, it's still relatively the same, but because of where I particularly live, we have the access of knowing midwives who will support the mother and their birth plan and the way that they'd like to deliver the baby, because obviously things could change, but the support on what the mother wants for enduring the labor up until a point where it may or may not be able to be any more feasible is all that I'm looking for. I want to feel supported. I want to feel the same way I did last time, even though it was a nurse who supported me last time around, and I would really like it for that nurse to be there this time around, but obviously with scheduling, can't just book her. And I had an OBGYN and she was nowhere there. The nurse was there, who I had never met, except for that morning that I was triaged because my water broke. And I had my baby that same day. So this time around, I'm wanting to stick with a midwife because they are with you from the beginning, which is now, through the end, and then afterwards as well. She explained that that's the way that midwives work, and that's the way that her job is, and how her team works, and that I can call anytime for any questions. I had a lot of breastfeeding questions as well, and post-care for the mom and the baby, because that's what I've been wanting and longed for with my firstborn, whom I did not get. And so that's what really is appealing to me in terms of her responses towards those type of questions. So I was really happy with that. Now, if I'm lowering my voice, it's because my daughter's sleeping in the next room. I forgot to mention that at the beginning, but I'm trying to keep it down so I don't wake her up. And that's for my midwife and medical care. Now, in terms of my symptoms, my first trimester, so that's between 5 weeks and 10 weeks. At the 8-week mark, I was feeling a little bit uneasy, kind of queasy, I want to say. Not nauseous, because last time around 7 to the 8-week mark, I was very nauseous. The sickness of the first trimester hit me early, exactly like in the books, I suppose, or like how everyone else does it. This time around, first trimester, it wasn't sickness, it wasn't nausea symptoms, it was queasy, like I knew I was pregnant, it's like your body remembers. Second time around, your body remembers things come earlier. So what was happening was I was getting a combination of symptoms from first trimester and second trimester from the last get-go. And I did have energy to at least go for a walk, but I kind of did not at the same time. So it was like a blend of first and second trimester. I have yet to work out the first trimester. I tried it. I mean, I just couldn't. No, because it was one of those things where I was about to put on my Beachbody workout, and then I had to just sit down because I wasn't feeling it. My body wasn't feeling it. I was going to fall. It felt like I was going to faint. It wasn't a pleasant time. And again, this is 7-8 week mark, like between the 7-8 week and 10 week mark, when I was about to visit my midwife at the 10 weeks. Then after having visited my OB, there's another 2 to 3 weeks that you have still in the first trimester, and it was the same. I mean, I did have my brother's wedding during that time. I did go on a cruise, and that was really where I felt it the most, because the boat just kept rocking and rocking and rocking, and it was one of the worst cruises in terms of rocking I've ever been on, in terms of weather I've ever been on. I think it had to do a lot with the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian and the other 2 hurricanes that were out in the far end of the Atlantic Ocean. That was probably the remnants of the waves of the hurricane. I don't know. The boat had a lot of movement, rocking movement, and I wasn't the only one feeling it. I was pregnant. Like, I am pregnant. I was pregnant at the time of the cruise, and I was feeling already queasy. And I thought, yeah, absolutely, my head was hurting. I just wanted to put my head down like this, like I'd be at dinner like this. I remember that clearly. You know, they were trying to make me feel comfortable, but honestly, I didn't want to be tired. I didn't want to go lay down either. I simply just needed to sit where I was so I can feel still included in what we were doing, which was mainly dinner, and, you know, having a good time relaxing on the lounge chairs, but I didn't want to do anything besides put my head down. And so I was able to do that, luckily, that I have family that like to lounge. But I also have family that want to get up and go around. So we tried doing a couple things around the boat, but it was in spurts, like in different times. Did not enjoy myself very much on that cruise, even though you'll see a video that's coming because I gotta post it. I liked going on cruises. I love cruising, but my head was taking the toll of it a lot, and that hindered a little bit of my enjoyment on the cruise. Again, it's just a little bit thing. I wasn't the only one. There was a Facebook group for this cruise, and there were even males who can't get genetically pregnant, and they were out in their beds for 2 days straight. And those were the 2 days that were the rockiest, because we had 2 days at sea. The scheduled 2 days at sea for the very beginning are the 2 days that I'm referring to. Ultimately, that cruise just had a lot of itinerary changes, and the entire cruise in itself was probably what affects you, because, you know, sometimes you're easily influenced by what's around you and what's going on around you, and I think it could have played a little bit into that for my sake. But I was able to eat what I could eat. I mean, still leading into the symptoms, I had major aversions to food. Last time I was able to at least eat stuff, except for the exception of meat, until about second trimester when I went to Banff. But this time it was aversion to every type of food, with the except of potatoes. I need lemons in my water, so that's what I love to drink. Anything acidic or vinegary I loved, and actually still do. And anything like rice, bread, potatoes, like starchy foods, that's all I could eat. And I remember clearly that there was fish, and I tried to try it out. At one point, one of the fish was a little too dry for my taste buds. I could feel and taste things more now that I was pregnant again for the second time, but I thought it was just the pregnancy. Turns out it wasn't just that. Some of the food was actually bland and drier than what it's supposed to be, because fish is supposed to be moist and, you know, juicy. So that wasn't. And yeah, the aversions have actually continued. Like I said, I'm in the second trimester, but I'm trying to tell you about my first trimester, which was a lot of aversions, a lot of like a mixture of first and second trimester from last time around. Things started earlier. I almost bypassed the sickness time because it's kind of been a plateau of like head and nauseous symptoms, but not wanting to throw up. It's been just like head fainting, trying to avoid that, and I have to eat or else I will faint. That's my first trimester. Yay! First trimester. I'll show you my belly because it's second trimester belly. It's gonna be different for second trimester anyways. But this is belly. Actually, it's kind of good to compare because for when I do a recap for second trimester, it's going to be bigger anyways. So yeah, that was first trimester recap. The other recommendations is to not go cruising your first trimester if you can avoid it. Try to eat when your body wants to eat, as little and as frequent meals as your body wants to eat. Don't neglect any signs or symptoms such as spotting or fainting or nausea or signs of maybe fainting, because it's not good, especially when or you're on public transportation, or if you're driving too, pull over. Please be safe while you're pregnant. It's super important. Okay, so I'll talk to you guys later. I'm gonna go edit this to upload today if I can, and then I'll come to you in a couple more weeks. It's gonna be a few more weeks actually for my second trimester recap. I'm gonna be doing them like this, I think, until about I hit my third trimester, and I might be going back to weekly updates because that's what I did last time. And it'd be good to see that because then I won't know when the baby's born until I look back on the last video that I made, just exactly how I did with my last pregnancy. That's how I knew how early my baby came because my video stopped after a time. So I hope you all have a good day. Take care and healthy pregnancies. Bye.